Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose, and it appears that Xbox might have another unannounced 2024 game that they've yet to confirm, and if this is true, this will add to an already pretty strong lineup for their ecosystem next year. So we will get into all that today, and then also the Insomniac hack continues to develop as speculation has started to brew for one of their next games. Sounds like Spider-Man 3 and Wolverine might not be their only plans, and this one has sparked quite a bit of interest online. So do make sure to stay tuned for all of that. With that, though, let's go and get right into things, starting off with our first topic, because interestingly enough, another wave of Sega games was just trademarked. This was spotted by Gamatsu, and you can see here this includes Altered Beast, Eternal Champions, Jet Set Radio, and Kid Chameleon. Now, of course, they've already announced a new Jet Set Radio game as a part of their New Era initiative, where they're reviving several dormant IP like Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, and Crazy Taxi. Honestly, this right here might have actually been my favorite announcement at the Game Awards, but they did drop a mysterious tease in that trailer as well. At the end, they did note that they're working on even more game revivals that they've yet to announce. So knowing that, it's really not out of the realms of possibility that, yeah, Altered Beast, Eternal Champions, and Kid Chameleon could very much be some of the games that they were referring to in that trailer. I mean, if so, this is pretty amazing stuff. I think the 5 games that they've already announced alone is just pure Sega nostalgia overload for anybody who grew up playing these old Sega games. But it really sounds like Sega is pretty much open to reviving almost anything that they have in their treasure trove of IP. They are going all out with this initiative. So I think with that, the question just becomes, what else could they be cooking up? I mean, we've already heard rumors about a Skies of Arcadia remaster, so maybe that's in the works somewhere, and that would be pretty awesome. But what about games like Nights into Dreams? You have Echo the Dolphin, there's Rystar, Virtua Fighter, Panzer Dragoon, and the list just goes on and on and on. All these IP might actually have a chance to be revived, and I mean, that is crazy to think about. Again, if you grew up playing Sega games like this, it's crazy to think that all of these games might be coming back to modern day platforms with revivals. If you asked me just a few weeks ago, I would have probably been a little bit skeptical of that, but hey, the Sega that we grew up with is back, and that is pretty wild to think about. All of these IP from the 90s could be coming back to modern day platforms with revivals. Now, we also got some good Starfield news as we head into 2024. They have now confirmed that they have some pretty big updates on the way that could significantly change how you play the game. You can see their post here where they said, "We're also hard at work on many of the new features that you asked for, from city maps to mod support to all new ways of traveling. Stay tuned. These will be rolling out with regular cadence of fixes and updates we expect to have roughly every 6 weeks." So this isn't just some kind of DLC. Of course, we know that that's in development as well, but they're also looking to add some highly requested quality of life features, and I think especially with the quote-unquote new ways of traveling. One complaint that I have seen online is that exploring planets can sometimes feel tedious. You just kind of walk around as you gather materials, but it would kind of be nice to have a quicker way of traveling once you're on these planets. Maybe you could take a small vehicle with you or something like that, and it kind of sounds like that's something that Bethesda wants to look into here. Obviously, though, the big inclusion here is mod support. That's really one of the things that makes Bethesda games so special, that mod support. We've seen it with Skyrim, and we've seen it with Fallout. The modding community is huge for these games, and it's one reason that they're played for years and years. So once modding gets added to Starfield, and especially with the upcoming DLC whenever that releases, I think we're going to see another uptick for this game. If anything else, it sounds like 2024 is going to be another big year for Starfield, with more tools, more content, and features in the hands of players. It sounds like Starfield will be an even better game than what we have right now. Speaking of Xbox's 2024 games, though, it sounds like they may have another unconfirmed title planned. This is coming from a Microsoft senior PR manager and PR lead, Brad Hildebrand. His LinkedIn profile interestingly included all the projects that he's helped out with and the year that they released, and okay, that's no big deal. This includes projects like Halo and Forza, but right at the end, he included Towerborn and South of Midnight with a mysterious 2024 release date. Now, we already know that Towerborn is planned for next year. That's not some big surprise. But South of Midnight, on the other hand, if this is true, this is new information. In fact, we've barely seen anything on this game at all outside of a small teaser that they revealed earlier this year. So to hear that it might release in 2024, that could surprise some people. Now, however, he has since removed the year for both these games on his profile, which again, we already knew that Towerborn is planned for 2024. I guess he's just kind of removing the date for any unreleased game, considering it's now making news. But yeah, deleting the release dates isn't going to necessarily stop the speculation. It's already out there in the wild, and now you just have to kind of wonder why exactly did he put 2024 next to South of Midnight? Was that maybe a mistake, or is that really the current plan? I mean, we can't really confirm one way or the other, but I will say this much. South of Midnight being a 2024 title is plausible. I mean, if you think about it, the last game from Compulsion was We Happy Few, and that released back in 2018. So hypothetically, if South of Midnight releases in late 2024, that would be 6 years between releases. That's a very plausible development timeline, and that could be one of the reasons that they were willing to tease South of Midnight just earlier this year. It might actually be closer to release than what we originally realized. And if it is a late 2024 title or even early 2025, that gives them plenty of time to optimize its gameplay for a better reveal, let's say early in 2024. You know, there's already a lot of speculation that Xbox is planning another developer direct early in 2024 like they did earlier this year. So they could do something similar here and really set expectations for fans and their 2024 lineup. That's why I do like these early year showcases, though. Nintendo does things very similar where they just kind of set expectations for their yearly lineup right out of the gate. So I like that Xbox did that this year, and I would like to see them do that next year because we currently know very little information about that 2024 lineup. We still need to see release dates or even a release window for games like Hellblade 2 and Avowed. Those are their next two big confirmed first-party titles, and we need more specific information. There's also the next Flight Simulator. We haven't heard much about that game since it was first announced. They also have Towerborn, as we just discussed a moment ago, and yeah, South of Midnight, hypothetically, could be included as a surprise 2024 title as well. Don't forget that Hi-Fi Rush just earlier this year was shadow dropped at the Xbox Developer Direct. So even though the Xbox Developer Direct is more about game updates with new gameplay and release dates, you, however, can't necessarily rule out a surprise announcement either. So I mean, who knows? Maybe there is something to this South of Midnight leak. For the time being, though, I would still take this leak with a grain of salt until confirmed. That's always the best practice. But hopefully Xbox announces that Developer Direct sometime here soon. I really do think that that's a great way to set up the year and just kind of set expectations early on. Okay, now we also have a PlayStation leak to talk about that has been catching a lot of buzz online. Of course, yesterday we talked about the Insomniac ransomware hack. That is a very, very unfortunate situation. But now following that news, some unconfirmed images are being shared online with some rather blurry text. Now, do keep in mind that this is still unconfirmed images, but given the recent Insomniac hack, there is some belief out there that this could have surfaced from that. However, these images, which include text, are quite hard to make out because they are very blurry, but there's a few references that fans have picked up on, which has led to a crazy amount of speculation. The first of which is a line that appears to read, 2025 for the studio and the planned projects, Miles, RCE, SM2, SM3, and then Spider something. Now, it's pretty easy to decipher most of these references. You have Miles Morales, and then you have Spider-Man 2 and 3. I mean, nobody would be shocked to know that Insomniac plans to make Spider-Man 3. That's pretty much a given, considering it's one of the most successful games on a very successful console. However, RCE, though, that is a little bit more of a mystery, maybe something Ratchet and Clank related, which, you know, to me, if that's true, that's probably the most exciting thing for me personally. I really like the Ratchet and Clank series, and I would be thrilled to know that there's another game in development. But it's the mysterious Spider something that's grabbing all the headlines, because another image also shows a reference to the Spider-Verse. So is it possible that they could be working on a Spider-Verse game? And I think in some ways that does make some sense. There are references to the Spider-Verse in their games, and it could be a logical way of expanding their take on the universe. I've also seen theories that this could be the multiplayer game that they've been working on. We've known for a while from job listings that they have some kind of unannounced multiplayer project, and the Spider-Verse does kind of open up the possibility of a multiplayer Spider-Man type of game. So I thought that was a pretty interesting theory that made some sense here. It could actually make for a pretty cool project. I could see them maybe doing something like that. But for the time being, I would still recommend taking this leak with a grain of salt, and I say that for various reasons. For one, this is an unconfirmed leak, and I really want to emphasize that part. So in reality, somebody could be taking advantage of the Insomniac hack by spreading rumors like this. We can't necessarily rule that out, and even if it is legit, we do also have to keep in mind that this might not be referring to a brand new game. Again, I think the multiplayer project does make some sense when you start to think about it, but it could also be some type of DLC for all we know. So I just think that everybody needs not to get their expectations up too much, just in case. Now, if it happens, then that's fantastic, but I think under the very little context that we have currently, it's one of those situations that is definitely best to wait until we get more concrete information. At the bare minimum, maybe wait and see if this leak is even legit or not, because we currently don't even have that information on hand. With that, though, I would like to hear y'all's opinions on this. Would you like to see a Spider-Verse game? And if it is a multiplayer game, do you like that idea or not? Let me know in the comments below. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all, do you think that Summer Game Fest is a good general showcase to replace E3? And the majority of you all are still not on board for this event, and I can understand that. The Summer Game Fest really has not lived up to the essence of E3. Like, the thing is, it's kind of a weird showcase because, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, they all just do their own thing. So that's a big portion of what makes E3 so exciting in the first place. Even Ubisoft, they kind of do their own showcases as well with Ubisoft Forward. So it does put the Summer Game Fest in a different position than what you saw with E3. But for me, the way I look at it, I'm not really a huge fan of how Jeff Keighley does his showcases, and I don't think that they really reach the same heights as E3, but at the same time, showcases like the Summer Game Fest, I would still say are fun, and I think that they're at the very least worth tuning into because he does come with some cool reveals as well. Now, sure, I would like to change some things with his showcases, but I think they're fun enough to at least tune into. Regardless, though, I will definitely miss E3. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.